Disclaimer: this review is inspired by scenes from the movie and is created for entertainment and commentary purposes only. Credits to Balaji Ogunmola TV. There are some movies you watch for entertainment, and there are some movies that quietly sit inside your chest long after the credits roll. Anjola is one of those emotional stories that doesn't just tell you about marriage struggles. It drags you directly into the pain, silence, frustration, and emotional exhaustion that many couples secretly battle behind closed doors. This movie is not loud with unnecessary drama. It is not trying to impress you with action or unrealistic romance. Instead, it gives viewers something raw, emotional, and painfully real. From the very beginning, you can already sense that something heavy is hanging over this marriage. Even when the couple smiles, there is sadness hiding underneath. And honestly, that is what makes this movie powerful. The story centers around Anjola and Larry, a married couple struggling with infertility after years of trying to have a child. They have gone through failed IVF treatments, emotional breakdowns, pressure from society, family interference, and finally, surrogacy. But instead of bringing peace, the surrogacy journey opens deep emotional wounds they never truly healed from. What makes this movie stand out is how realistic the conversations feel. The arguments do not sound scripted. They sound like real people talking from years of accumulated pain. Every sentence feels heavy because neither of them is completely wrong, yet neither of them truly understands the other. That scene where Anjola begins bringing out old memories and photographs from their journey together was heartbreaking. You could literally feel the exhaustion in her voice. 7 years of trying for a child. 7 years of disappointment. 7 years of hoping, praying, trying treatments, and mourning failures. The movie carefully shows how infertility doesn't just affect the body. It affects identity, confidence, intimacy, communication, and even self-worth. Anjola's pain especially hits hard because she feels disconnected from the pregnancy. Even though the baby biologically belongs to her and Larry, another woman, Gloria, is carrying the child. And no matter how supportive Larry tries to be, Anjola cannot shake the feeling that she is losing something important. One thing this movie handled very well is the emotional complexity of surrogacy. Many people think surrogacy automatically solves infertility pain, but this movie asks deeper questions. What happens emotionally when another woman carries your baby? What if you feel disconnected from the child? What if guilt, insecurity, jealousy, or fear starts creeping into the marriage? What happens when society keeps reminding a woman that motherhood is tied to pregnancy? These are difficult conversations many movies avoid, but Anjola faces them directly. The tension between Anjola and Larry becomes increasingly uncomfortable because both of them are carrying invisible wounds. Larry feels like he has spent years trying to hold everything together, emotionally, financially, and mentally. Meanwhile, Anjola feels like her body failed her and that everyone secretly blames her for it. One of the strongest parts of the movie is how neither character is presented as completely innocent or completely guilty. Larry genuinely loves his wife. You can see it clearly. He supports her through treatments, doctor visits, sleepless nights, and emotional breakdowns. But at the same time, some of his actions unintentionally make Anjola feel pressured and inadequate. Anjola, on the other hand, is deeply hurting. But because of that pain, she lashes out, says hurtful things, and pushes Larry away emotionally. The movie shows how unresolved pain can slowly poison communication in a marriage. Their arguments were honestly difficult to watch because they felt too real. At one point, Anjola accuses Larry of emotionally pushing her into surrogacy, even if he never openly said it. Larry insists he only wanted her happiness and safety. And honestly, both perspectives make sense. That is what makes the writing brilliant. The dialogue in this movie deserves serious praise. Instead of shallow arguments, the conversations are layered with years of resentment, fear, disappointment, guilt, and unspoken expectations. Sometimes they are arguing about surrogacy, but deep down they are really arguing about identity, love, sacrifice, and loneliness. Another emotional aspect of the movie is family pressure, especially from Angela's mother. In many African societies, fertility is unfairly treated as a woman's responsibility, and this movie reflects that painful reality. Angela becomes vulnerable to harmful spiritual manipulation because she desperately wants to feel normal again. The scene where she secretly visits the so-called spiritual healer was deeply disturbing. Not because the movie tries to glorify it, but because it shows how emotional desperation can push people into dangerous situations. Larry's reaction afterward felt completely understandable. He was angry, shocked, hurt, and terrified all at once. That scene also highlighted something important. Emotional pain can make intelligent people vulnerable to harmful advice. Angela was not foolish. She was desperate, emotionally exhausted, and searching for hope anywhere she could find it. One thing I appreciated is that the movie does not mock her pain. Instead, it shows how society's expectations can psychologically crush people. The performances in this movie were excellent. The actors did not overact. They allowed silence, facial expressions, pauses, and body language to speak volumes. Sometimes the quiet moments were even more emotional than the shouting scenes. Angela's character especially carried enormous emotional weight. You could see the conflict inside her. She loves the child. She wants the child. But she also feels disconnected from the pregnancy and ashamed for feeling disconnected. That internal battle was portrayed beautifully. Larry's performance was equally powerful because he represents many men who silently carry emotional burdens while trying to appear strong. Society often expects men to fix everything, emotionally and financially, without showing vulnerability. But underneath Larry's calmness is a man who is also scared of losing his marriage, his future child, and his wife's emotional stability. One scene that really stood out was when Larry finally exploded emotionally after Angela accused him of not suffering enough. That monologue was painful because for the first time, viewers see just how exhausted he truly is. He reminds her about the sacrifices he made, arranging appointments, paying medical bills, risking his career, supporting her emotionally, managing medications, staying awake during her breakdowns, and carrying his own silent pain. That scene was incredibly powerful because it showed that suffering inside marriage is not always visible. The movie also does a great job portraying how grief changes people over time. Angela and Larry were once playful, hopeful, deeply connected lovers, but repeated disappointment slowly transformed their relationship into something fragile and tense. Even their intimate moments feel emotionally complicated because unresolved pain keeps interrupting them. And yet, despite all the fighting, there is still love there. That is what hurts the most. You can tell they genuinely love each other, but love alone is no longer enough to erase years of emotional wounds. The soundtrack and background music also deserve praise. The soft, emotional songs during tense scenes added even more emotional depth without becoming distracting. Some scenes were almost poetic in how sadness and silence blended together. Visually, the movie keeps things simple and grounded. It does not rely on flashy cinematography. Instead, the focus stays on the emotions, conversations, and performances. That simplicity actually works in its favor because it makes the story feel intimate and believable. One thing viewers will definitely discuss after watching this movie is the question of motherhood. The movie challenges the harmful idea that a woman's value is tied only to childbirth. Angela repeatedly questions her worth because she cannot carry a pregnancy herself. Meanwhile, Larry keeps trying to remind her that motherhood is bigger than pregnancy alone. That conversation was honestly one of the most emotional themes in the entire film. There is a powerful line where Larry explains that pregnancy lasts 9 months, but motherhood lasts a lifetime. That statement captures the heart of the movie perfectly. The film also explores fear of emotional detachment. Angela worries she may never connect with the baby emotionally because she is not carrying the child herself. That fear is painful and human. Many viewers may not agree with her thoughts, but the movie makes you understand where the fear comes from. And that is the strength of Anjola. It refuses to give easy answers.
Instead, it presents complicated emotions honestly. The final moments become especially tense when Gloria suddenly goes into labor earlier than expected. After spending almost the entire movie emotionally tearing each other apart, Anjola and Larry suddenly unite again through fear and urgency. That ending leaves viewers emotionally shaken because it reminds us that beneath all the anger, they are still two people terrified of losing the child they fought so hard for. Overall, Anjola is an emotionally heavy, mature, and thought-provoking drama that explores infertility, surrogacy, marriage, trauma, emotional exhaustion, family pressure, and identity in a deeply human way.
This is not a movie for people looking for light entertainment or simple romance. It is a film that demands emotional attention from its audience. Some scenes may frustrate you. Some conversations may even trigger uncomfortable emotions. But that is exactly why the movie works. It feels real. Final verdict. Anjola is a deeply emotional film that reminds viewers how love can survive pain, but also how pain can slowly distort love when communication breaks down. The performances are powerful, the writing is realistic, and the emotional themes are handled with surprising maturity. This movie will especially resonate with viewers who appreciate emotionally driven stories about marriage, family expectations, and personal identity. Rating 8.8%. It is heartbreaking, frustrating, emotional, honest, and unforgettable. If you enjoyed this emotional review of Anjola, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Flicks and Feels for more powerful Nollywood movie reviews, recaps, and emotional storytelling content. Turn on the notification bell so you never miss any upload. Hearts emoji, film reel.